Yeah, yeah, it's great. I mean, there's lots of nice ways to do it. Me, I I like the brutal, simple way. Carton of orange juice, bottle of rum,
Yes, yes.
sugar, and spices, and then
Mm-hmm.
fruit. Throw in fruit on top, and just
Mm-hmm.
do that. Probably not the whole bottle of rum, but about 3/4 of a bottle of rum
Yes.
in there. And I don't usually put wine into it because I think you can do wine by itself, right? If you've got wine, you can heat up the wine
Mm.
and you can put some herbs and spices in the wine and just have the wine by itself. Um, but yeah, there's lots of different ways to do it and to experiment. And I've always done it in the past. I've always made punch at Christmas. Apart from this Christmas, I didn't make it because I am I'm abstinent. I don't drink alcohol, so
Mm.
I have, or for where are we? October, November, December. It's my fourth month of not drinking alcohol. I decided not to drink alcohol for a year.
Really?
So yeah. So focus,
Yeah.
focus, right? Everything has to be in focus. Everything has to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
so I
after 1 year, what will be next step?
step backwards, maybe.
That you will drink alcohol 1 year.
Yeah. Get that balance right.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes,
Yes. Compensation. Right.
yes, yes, yes.
Compensation. No, I think that I think that there's a lot that we can learn from not taking something that we want when it is easy. The easiest thing to do is to go to the shop, buy food, get some alcohol, and then it's very easy to buy alcohol, right? Buy it anywhere
Mm-hmm.
and drink it. And I think if we know that we can do it, but we make a decision not to do it, it's
Yeah.
so yeah, it's the mental exercise um, of saying no because you know it's the right thing to do, and it's also a challenge for you as well. Because the the easiest the easiest thing to do in the short term is be a yes person. Just say yes to whatever everybody else says. Yes, 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 yes. And that is not that's not being honest for most people. And I think that it's good sometimes to say no to things we could do and move them to a later point in time and say, I'll do that later. It comes from, I read this story about, there was an interview with a singer that I used to like, and
Mm-hmm.
people asked him, why do you take drugs? Because, all in the 1990s, all the rock bands and all the big rock bands were famous for their music and for their drugs activities as well. Strangely enough, almost all the singers of these rock bands killed themselves because they took too much drugs, and it was a bit of a disaster. But the point is, why do you do drugs? And the answer was, well, when somebody gives you something that's basically for free and you don't have to pay for it, it's very hard to say no sometimes. It's really hard to say no. Like if you offer sweets to children, like 9 times out of 10, the children will say yes to the sweets. It might not be good for them to say yes, but they'll say yes because they want it. But sometimes it's better to teach patience, the ability to wait, which is difficult in adults as well as difficult in children as well. I'm always trying to reinforce this with my children and say to them, learn to wait. You have to ask in advance. My children are always asking, can we have this now? And I will say to them, well, you've got to ask me the day before. You ask me the day before, and I can put it into my plan. I can put it into my schedule, and then we can do it. Sometimes it's very hard to make things appear just instantly. We live in a very difficult but gifted time where things can happen very quickly if we want them to. So yeah, hidden skills, the ability to wait, and my opinion is that if something will always be there, there's no rush. You don't have to move quickly if it's always going to be there. And my theory is that alcohol's always going to be there. Right? It's been used for thousands of years to control society. In fact, actually, it's only been used in recent times to control societies. Whereas in the past, it was much more difficult to get alcohol. You go back more than 500 years, access to alcohol was actually really complicated. A number of reasons for that. People didn't have the resources to make it. And people didn't have the stability to make it because life was crazy. And also a lot of laws. There were a lot of laws against the production and distribution of alcohol. And it was only officially government licensed houses that could sell alcohol, especially in Britain. That's where the word pub comes from, in public house, meaning a house that had a license from the government. So it wasn't until alcohol was used to destroy the traditional cultures of people, say like the North American Indians. Alcohol very much destroyed a lot of their culture. The Aboriginal culture in Australia, a lot of alcohol was given to those cultures to destroy them. Communism, right? Why alcohol was the cheapest thing, right? In communism, alcohol was the cheapest thing. And it was an unnatural, artificial price that the government kept down because they knew if the people were full of alcohol, they could never protest and they could never fight back against the government. The trouble is overuse of alcohol leads to brain disease and so many other problems. Anyway, it's between the age of 25 and 30, I probably drank 25 and 30. Yeah, let's say 22. Between the age of 22 and 30, I probably drank enough alcohol for my whole life, basically. So that was like, when I arrived in Slovakia, I did not drink alcohol at all. Did not drink anything when I arrived in Slovakia. Well, that changed. Yeah, but I learned to have a big glass in one hand, a small glass in the other hand, and
Yes.
to close my eyes and pray. Because hopefully one of my party would remember where we live, right? Because the number of times during my party years that I woke up and I called my friend and I said, "What time did you get home?" Yeah. Okay. Are you at home? Right. How did you get there? How did you get there? Exactly. So, yeah, those are. But that's what I learned in Slovakia, right?
Mm.
Is what I learned. I also learned that it's not. I learned that it's fun, but you have to grow beyond it. You know,
Mm.
you have to develop that ability, which is a bit hard to do in Slovakia. We have to develop that ability where you say where you say no to people. It's hard to do because it's
Mm.
very much a it's very much a drink up or shut up culture, right? You know, prove that you're a man by um, what's that drink in Slovakia? What's the Borovička? Oh dear, that's oh. The taste is the same taste that a Christmas tree has.
Yes, yes.
This is how I would describe it. You know, you get these fresh air sprays. Make
Yes.
the air fresh. It's full of horrible chemicals, right? Spray it, and you get and they make your bathroom smell like pine, like Christmas trees. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it's a bit like getting one of those, lighting a match, and just breathing in. That's what it's like. it's it's um, I remember. I'll tell you this story in a second. So I've seen a lot of people's lives destroyed by alcohol.
Mm.
Even in my own family, there's a
Mm.
history of alcoholism. Huge history. Like this is like at least 10, 20 people I can think of in my family who have drunk themselves to death with alcohol. So it's frightening. I even see it right now. So my father is drinking himself to death with alcohol. It's just
Mm.
drink, and get up the next day and drink, and get up the next day and drink. No incentive, no reason for things. It's quite it's quite disturbing actually,
Mm.
to see that happen in people. And I also saw, in Slovakia what it does over a long period of time to cultures. I've also learned, like you learn the hard way over the years, that when there is a problem with anything anywhere, there's a 90% chance that alcohol is at the root of that problem.
Mm.
I'm talking any problem, anywhere. There's a 90% chance that you can follow what made or caused that problem to happen. You can trace it to alcohol in one way or another. Whether it's somebody driving a car drunk, or whether it's somebody getting in a fight drunk, or getting in an argument drunk, or whether it's somebody using alcohol to erase parts of their memory, which is something that alcohol does because
Mm.
it changes the focus of your thinking. So people can drink to, it's crazy, people drink to forget, and they also drink because they remember. So it's bad on both sides. And I've seen alcohol just destroy so many people's lives. In fact, in the last year, I met two people, and I don't meet that many people. It's hard in the present world to go and meet people physically, but I met two people, and each of these people was telling me about an accident they had or a problem they had. One of them, it was one of them was a problem with their food. They're like, "Oh, I got a problem with my food," blah blah blah.
Mm.
And I said, what happened? They said, oh, I fell off. It was on a roof somewhere. I said, I fell off the roof. And I said, alcohol. And he said, yep. It's just like, you just know, right? After years and years of experience in life, you just know that alcohol is somewhere under everything for most people. So it's crazy, and that frustrates me because I see it promoted a lot, and I think that it has a value as a medicine. I understand that, and a painkiller. This is what it was used for a lot originally. For people would drink half a bottle of whiskey, and then the doctor would operate on them, and they couldn't feel anything. So I see that side of things, but having seen it destroy so many people's lives, and thinking myself that I'm pretty lucky to have survived 10 years of partying and doing a lot of crazy things and not had any obviously major problem as a result of that. But you think of all the problems worldwide, people tripping, people falling over. In winter, it's icy and slippery everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And people would be like slipping and falling. A lot of that was because people were drunk, right? They'd go out to town, they'd drink some punch,
Yes.
they'd be walking home, they'd fall, just because of that. And so there's that. Think about here's a crazy thing. Think about all of the babies that get born because of, say, drunk activity between people. I mean, there's a huge element of that in the world as well, where people are not so responsible as they should be. But there's a lot of things that can be traced negatively. So I think it's very, very good to have this, to be able to have this distance from it. Nothing wrong with it. It's about people. It's not about things. The cup is not a bad cup. It's just a cup. It's what you think about the cup. It's what you put into the cup that makes the cup what it is. So alcohol itself is not necessarily a bad thing. But I have seen too many people go too far with it. I've also seen the ultimate evil, which is somebody say, oh, you're an alcoholic because you got drunk. It's like getting drunk a couple of times doesn't make you an alcoholic, right? That there's a different thing going on there. Because I've had people say that, people say that in the past, and it's very hard to argue back against it. Yeah. Oh, you got drunk and you drink. It's like, yes, and what is the point that you want to make? Yeah, and it's really difficult to argue back. And when you've got a responsible job in a responsible position, it's a really difficult position to be in if you want to defend your position. And people say, oh well, but you drink. It's like, whatever. So I've had that a lot. Like I used to organize concerts for musicians, and people would say, you are always drunk at your concerts. And so I went from having 1 or 2 beers at a concert to having 0 beers at a concert. I couldn't drink. Because if people saw me having a drink, they would just automatically say, you're drunk. And it just ruined the whole thing. So I just decided not to drink at concerts because people are stupid. And they're just gonna say stuff anyway. It doesn't matter what people say, but you've got to be focused on getting things done and getting the right thing done, which is hard, I think, in the modern world right now for a lot of people. I think it's hard to keep your focus when things are not the same as they were before, especially last year. The beginning of this year looks a lot different for people than the beginning of previous years. How people envision the future is at this moment very different to how it maybe was a year ago. So so interesting times. I made a prediction